Yeah, no, in the center of the room. Yes. No. I wouldn't do that to you. All right, so come on over for a second, you guys, and try to watch her from the side.
Yeah, I've never been in a gym.
Do you feel like you have enough space here to work with? Okay. So she's going to put her hands on the floor. Watch her from the side. Okay.
That's because I have an audience. I've never gotten that.
I know, it's all right. That's okay. Lower your knees for a second.
Okay.
Take a moment. A lot of times, handstand can be difficult, well, for multiple reasons. But one of them is that in handstand, the upper arm bone stays fixed. And the shoulder blade rotates over the arm bone. Whereas when you're in mountain pose and you lift your arms up alongside your ears, it's the arm bone that's moving through space. So it's inversed. Does that make sense? So you're not moving your arm is staying fixed, you're moving your shoulder girdle over your arm. So you have to have strength in the muscles that stabilize the shoulder girdle, specifically the shoulder blades, in order to pick that whole rib cage and all of your body weight that's attached to it and lift it up and over the head of the humerus. So let's try one more time. And you're going to press into down dog. Come closer if you guys can't see. No, not yet. Because I actually had a hard time seeing and I was sitting right there. Yeah. Oh, interesting things happening here, you guys. Yeah. Oh, she's getting smart on me.
Yeah.
All right.
I have to think about it.
All right, so she's going to walk her feet in a little closer to her hands. And I want her to think about lifting here. Yes. Keep lifting everything up. Beautiful. So this becomes, it looks like what we were seeing in the plank pose. No, don't sink. Lift. Lift, lift. Good. Now kick. Kick and lift up. Good. Kick and lift up. Good. Now look right here. And kick and lift up. Oh, good. And exhale, kick and lift up. And lift through your arms. Good.
Yeehaw.
Woo. Okay. Now drop your head, drop your head, drop your head, drop your head. Now turn these outer arms.
Thank you.
Turn these good. And now lift up. Lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up. Good. That was awesome. So that what she was doing is, as when I was cueing you to lift up, she was upwardly rotating the shoulder blade, allowing these muscles to fire and giving her more stability upside down.
That made a big difference.
It was great. It helps to stabilize yourself first before you kick. Sometimes fear gets in the way.
Yeah.
So we're not like doing anything, we're just kicking like,
Can you demonstrate that part again?
I'm going to demonstrate for her, so it can be clear.
Yeah.
Can I take your place for a second?
Yeah, please.
Great.
Please do.
It's hard to follow the teacher when they don't really know what's going on, right? And you don't know what's in the teacher's head. Okay, so for a lot of folks, we come into handstand this way. Can you see my shoulder blades? And what I'm looking for is more this.
Yeah.
Okay, so your arm is stable and the shoulder girdle is rotating over the arm, and then I'm going to lift up. I'm upwardly rotating my scapulae. Can you guys see that? Yes? Yes. Not upwardly rotating? Squaring my shoulders? Not good. Like It's Uttanasana upside down. Exactly. Okay, so that is the work that we're trying to do when we're upside down. All right?
I could see too that wouldn't be good on the wrists rather, when you were not fully extended. Like it was, your wrists looked like they were affected.
You can actually see the weight going down.
Yeah.
You know, you have those arrows of action in your asana manual. Like you can see those in real bodies. Like, oh, all the energy is like sinking right down into the wrist. Oh wow, this person looks really lifted. It's very clear. Okay. Any questions about that? So when someone is really struggling with plank and chaturanga, the tendency for a lot of people is that the serratus muscle is very weak, where the chest is very tight. So even if the serratus was strong, you know, there are certain things that inhibit that. If we can strengthen the serratus anterior and the rhomboids and the abdominals, and the whole thing is working together as a unit, the students can have a lot more control as they lower down to the ground. Okay? All right, so let's look at the shoulder joint. We just talked about the shoulder girdle. Now we're going to talk about the shoulder joint. What kind of joint is the shoulder joint? Ball and socket. So how many planes of movement can it move in?
All three.
All three. And the three are? Is there a dance that goes with that?
No, we did two chicken dips.
Oh, okay. just wondering.
We could make one.
There was John Travolta.
We did do that one, yeah.
And there was Elvis.
That's for the pelvis, yes.
Yeah.
Right, so actually the shoulder joint is very shallow, whereas the hip joint is very deep. And I was talking with a teacher this weekend, and I wish I had brought in lollipops, because she does this thing with her students where she has them, so just imagine, because I didn't have one when she told me and it clicked. You put the lollipop in your mouth behind your teeth, and you suck on it and you try to pull it out. It's deeply lodged suction-wise into the socket. That's more like what the hip is. The hip joint has this connective tissue called the labrum, which sucks the head of the femur very deeply into its very deep cave of a home. If you were to take the lollipop and put it in front of your teeth and just hold it with your lips and try to pull, it would come out really quickly and really easily. That is more like the shoulder joint, which is super shallow. The ligaments that hold your arm onto your shoulder socket are really not that reliable, frankly. The only thing that's holding your arm in place to stabilize it are the muscles around your shoulder.
That's why it's so easy to dislocate the femurs.
Yes.
Put it back in also easier.
I did that too.
Take it out, put it back.
Well, if someone dislocates their shoulder, like a partial dislocation is called subluxation, and then you have full dislocation. That will most likely be accompanied by vomiting, writhing on the floor, screaming in agony and pain. Like, it's not a party trick. Like, a lot of people are like, look, I can dislocate my arm. But that might be the movement of a tendon, that might be just really, really lax ligaments. But a full dislocation of the shoulder is like no joke. And the problem is when you dislocate, usually people dislocate anteriorly. The ligament, which is the non-contractile, elastic tissue that connects bone to bone, once that's been overstretched like that, or maybe even torn, it's now permanently overstretched. So you take a joint that's already not stable and you make it really not stable, to the point where someone who dislocates their shoulder once has like, and I don't know the percentage, but it's something crazy, like a 50% chance of doing it a second time. And if you've done it a second time, it's like an 80% chance of doing it a third time. So if you have someone that walks into your class and says, oh, I've dislocated my shoulder, that is like red flag. You gotta make sure that that person is integrating the arm into the shoulder socket, their arms look stable in the shoulder socket, the shoulder blades look stable on the back ribs, and they're not sinking into their joints. Okay? When you've done posture labs with Jean Marie and Jody, have you looked at people who sink into their shoulders in down dog, etc.?
A little bit more elbows than shoulders. We didn't talk too much about it.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, like, cow?
I mean, like anyway.
Okay.
So maybe we'll look at somebody in down dog and we'll talk about the shoulder girdle a little bit. Let's go back to our books, and I want to cover the shoulder joint complex a little bit so that you can see some pictures of it as we talk.